Hello and welcome back to Spotlight Manchester. Now I'm joined by local radio presenter Tony Horne, who's written a book all about his family's exploits on a holiday to Australia last year. It's called Horns Down Under Part 1, and the man joins me now. Good afternoon, Tony.
Hi, Jethro.
You okay?
Never been better.
Brilliant. That makes two of us then. So first of all, why did you write this book?
There are two reasons. I rang my accountant and said I'd like to go to Australia. I can't afford it. He said, well, then you need a business trip.
Yeah.
You're a writer and broadcaster, write a book. So I did. So there's my MP's like business expense.
Okay.
Secondly, I wanted to write a book that was for a family that had a trip of a lifetime in them, but set it in a time span that was doable. So the equivalent of school holidays. We just went a couple of weeks before the school holidays because, well, as everyone knows, it's cheaper, you know, to take the kids out.
Yeah.
But essentially, it's set over a 7-week period. It's aimed at a family like us that are just fed up with life, bored, tired, burnt out, and poor, and have a trip of a lifetime within them. So that's it. And it's not a guidebook, because guidebooks are boring, aren't they? You know, you turn to page 4 and it tells you about the average rainfall and stuff like that. So it's a travel story with some guide tips in it.
Okay.
And it's a human story of a family getting back together after really not speaking to each other for the best part of a decade.
So you had the intention of writing the book before you went?
Certainly, yeah. I mean, you know, everyone says they've got a book in them, don't they?
Yes,
well, I think that's rubbish. You know, I think that's lazy pub talk.
Yes.
I think if you've got 2 or 3 books in you, then you might have one in you. And I know that I've certainly got some other books down the line in my head, and I hope this is the first in a series of books. But I wanted to write, and I've been writing a weekly newspaper column. I call it a satirical weekly newspaper column, but I don't know if my readers get it at all.
No, they might think it's serious news.
Yeah, I think they do. I think it's just breaking. But so I've been doing that for years, and it's one thing to go from 600 words a week to go to 350 pages, but I managed it in the end, you know, in crayon, obviously.
Absolutely. How long did it actually take you to write the book then?
Well, on a nightly basis, as we're crossing Australia in our beloved camper van, we both made notes, my wife and I. Though unfortunately I spilt a carton of red wine over the first half of the book, so I had to make it up again when I got home. But in the autumn of last year, about a year ago, September 2008, I spent the evenings whiling away the winter writing the book, and I think I probably finished it really over Christmas, and then rewrote it, and then rewrote it, then I rewrote it again, and then I rewrote it, you know. So it's had about 12 rewrites, but probably by February the book was put to bed. You know?
Right. Well, we've got some photos actually of you on holiday. There's you in your camper van. That's you and the kids. So what was it like going in a camper van then? Was it interesting? Would you recommend it to other people?
Don't have a row. Everyone else can hear it.
Well, I would say, if you and your wife rowed, where would she like go in the toilet, and then you go in the kitchen if you're not speaking to each other?
No, it was generally full on in front of the whole campsite.
Right.
I think.
Yeah.
It's an enclosed space, which is great, because if you want to spend time with people, that, you know, everyone gets into routine, don't they? Get yourself in a camper van, and you know, the physicality of the vehicle creates you know, funny situations as well when things start falling off the camper van, as they invariably did. Televisions, for example, doorsteps. You know, there wasn't a mile down the Prince's Highway in Australia where something wasn't falling off the van.
So it's a comedy then. It's about your.
That's very kind of you. Well, the thing is, it's observational. It's life, isn't it? And real life provokes funny situations, and you'll see funny scenarios in landscapes where nothing really is happening. It's also got some great.
I know the feeling, Tony. Believe me. Yeah.
It's got some great Australian moments in it, like Ayers Rock, and obviously all the stuff in Sydney, and of course the Neighbours tour in Melbourne. And there's, you know, funny sides, and there's a human story in it as well. And my wife drove me nuts half the time. You know?
I mean, do you think it's something that people read and think, I can completely relate to that?
No, I think it's rubbish. They shouldn't buy it.
Okay, well, that's fair enough. On that note, just before we finish the interview. So, you know, I mean, is it something that people will go, yeah, you know, I can relate to that?
I think people can relate to it. I think they can relate to the experience of travelling and how difficult that is now. I think they can relate to the comparisons between a can-do culture in Australia and a can't-do culture at home, where people put rules in your way all the time. I think they will love the landscape and the open road stories. I think they'll hopefully sit and wonder and think, I want a piece of that. And I think that they will think that the trip that we went on is achievable, you know, in a recession hit Britain, in a country where the economy is still thriving, there's no recession, and food and petrol are half the price. So I think that people will read it, they'll laugh, and they'll want to do the trip. When
you came back to Britain, was your perspective completely different towards this country, towards life generally?
Life generally, yes, totally. This country, worse than ever. I mean, you don't come back from a trip like that and think, wow, I've just got to get out there and live my life in nanny state Britain. You know, you think, I've got to get the next trip. And within a week, I was on the phone to a guy in Adelaide, and I said, you know, how much are you going to pay me to come and be on Australian radio? And he says, I think you could get a job on Australian radio, you know, tomorrow. He's trying to send me off to Perth, the most remote city in the world. But anyway, it was, the plan was there. What are you trying to say about your
radio talents, Tony?
The plan was certainly there, and there's not a day that we don't talk about it. It had such a lasting effect on our life. But we had a little baby when we got back, and that obviously conceived in the van, you know.
The kids don't know this. I see them scarred for life.
But that's the problem, isn't it? It's the physical break with your family here that prevents you from going, right, that's it, I'm off. But we'd be off if the life situation allowed it. You know?
We are running out of time, Tony, but one final question. Your wife is writing the second part of the book, isn't it? What kind of perspective do you think she's going to put in it? Completely different to yours?
Well, yeah, read it when it comes out. I don't think I'll survive it, that's for sure.
No grounds for divorce. Well, thank you for coming to talk to me about the book, Tony. It's called Horns Down Under Part 1. Is it available now?
It's available right now. Go to TonyHorneBooks.com. You'll see the pictures behind the story as well. It's published by Matador. Thank you.
Brilliant. Thank you very much, Tony.